Welcome back to this week's pull, or as Josh would like to say,
what are we reading?
And before we get started, guys, we know that last week we missed the review because, life just happens, things come up, and we just couldn't get around to it. So before we get into some other things, we just wanted to tell you what we would recommend from last week.
Okay, so cover, United States
Cover
versus
number
Mary-
1 by Bendis and, is it Maleev?
Bendis and Mac.
Mac, okay.
Yeah. And then United States versus Murder, Inc., which is also
Bendis
by
and
Bendis.
Oming. Yep.
And then we have Dreaming from the Sandman Universe and Vertigo. Mm-hmm. And then we also have Green Arrow.
Yeah, that new Green Arrow issue. Forget what issue number was, but that was a great Green Arrow issue.
Yeah, we sold out of it almost immediately.
Yeah, and before we before we get started on what's new this week, we just want to say this is being recorded on the day of September 11th, and we just wanted to commemorate the day for all of our North American U.S. listeners. I think most of you all know what it means. Me and Josh were both alive during 9/11, so we remember it, I'd say, probably pretty vividly. We were kind of young when it happened, but again, just, memorialize the people who lost their lives and the first responders who came in and kind of united the country for what seems like probably the last time it's happened that we all felt that united. So just remembrance to put out there. So, and without further ado, we will turn the switch gears here, get a little bit more upbeat, and go on to we'll talk about what we're getting into today. Superman number 3, 1975 number 1, Sandman Universe, The House of Whispers number 1, Cemetery Beach number 1, Plastic Man number 4, The Wrong Earth number 1, Hawkman number 4, Trump's Titans versus Diversity, and then I know Josh also has Catwoman number 3.
Yeah.
All right, guys, and getting into it, it's Superman issue 3 by Bendis and Ivan Reyes. Now, Josh, how did you feel about Superman number 3?
It picks up from issue number 2, but...
Really?
Yeah.
No, weird.
No, like, issue number 2, if you guys listen, we did not like it.
No.
We did not like it at all, and we've been riding this whole, Bendis Superman train for a while, and we were digging it, and it just kind of drops. Issue number 2 drops off,
really
and
bad.
then issue 3 kind of picks up just a little bit. But if it wasn't for the fact that I've been riding on it for a while, and those beautiful David Mack covers, I don't think I'd actually continue. But this is not a bad read. I didn't have a bad time reading it. The artwork was great at times when it wasn't pointless Superman fingers. But other than that, it wasn't a bad read. It's just it was definitely a forgettable issue, and I really hope I forget it.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with this book, is that it is completely forgettable. I will not take anything with me after reading this. After you put this book down, you're never going to think about it again. Mm-hmm. Even though there are some kind of cool cameos from the other members of the DC Universe, but this is just not a book that I'm going to care about, and doesn't feel like Bendis himself cares all that much about this book. And the weird thing is he's also writing Action Comics, and in Action Comics, Earth is not in the Phantom Zone. So it's just, when is this happening? Because there seems to be congruency between Lois and Jonathan being gone, but in this book they're also gone, but the Earth is in 2 different places. I don't know. But not my favorite read by any stretch of the imagination today. And I will unveil our new rating system for this week, which is Criminy Crackers. So I'm giving this one just 1.75 Criminy Crackers.
I'm right there with you, 1.75 Criminy Crackers.
All right, moving on to an indie title in issue 1 from Image called 1975. You guys look at the cover, it's actually all in Roman numeral, and it's by Joe Casey and Ian Macwan. I hope I pronounced that right. In this book, just quickly, it takes place in 1975. It's got the blaxploitation Shaft feel to it, and it's kind of Luke Cage meets Daredevil meets Thor. But a female during 1975 in what I can only assume is the Bronx of New York. Interesting little book. It didn't really grab my attention too much. It's just not a lot was explained in it, so there wasn't a lot for me to latch onto.
I agree. I actually really dig this book. I thought it was fun. I like the characters. I like the artwork. I like the style. But the one thing that kind of gives it some down points is the fact that for an issue 1, there's not a whole lot explained. It's just kind of, it's there, and which kind of make it a forgettable issue. There's nothing really that kind of makes you go, okay, I understand where the story's going. You don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of information in it. And for an issue number 1, I know it's hard, but you want to put in enough to keep people entertained, but also make sure that you understand where the story is going to be going.
Right.
This right here, I mean, you kind of understand, but it's like at the same time, there's not a whole lot going on. It's like, okay, she has this magic like tire iron, and it detects magic and stuff. So
yeah, but the thing is, like, we as an audience have no point of reference. Nobody else seems that weirded out by all these weird ninja people that are around. You know, they're not like taken aback, like, oh my god, what is this? It seems like it's a very natural occurrence, and I don't know. There's not, like you said, there's not a lot explained, so we really have no point of reference as far as how the world operates in this book. So for me, it's just going to be 2 criminy crackers.
Yeah, I'm going to actually go a little bit higher than you, 2.25. Just because I mean, I thought it was a fun book and a fun read. I definitely will give it an issue too. But it's just, for the most part, that it's just, there wasn't a lot in there. They didn't do a good job on, letting you kind of understand what's going on.
My interest is not piqued enough to want to read an issue 2. I'll say that. Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the Sandman Universe, House of Whispers, #1 by Nalo Hopkinson and Dominique Domo Stanton.
Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto.
And this one, of course, if you guys picked up Sandman Universe number 0, right? Was it number 0 or 1?
It was Sandman Universe #1. It's
okay.
Just a one shot.
Yeah, and it kind of set up this dream world. It's like the New Orleans, voodoo type stuff going on down there with set up this family with these girls. I'm having a hard time with some of the Sandman stuff because it seems like so much of the book is just not pertinent information. It's just a lot of world building, but it's also not building towards anything. It's letting you know how the world operates, but it's not really projecting a story until halfway through. I felt the same way about the dreaming. And it's an interesting story. It's just, again, something that I don't gravitate towards. It's highly conceptual, but I don't feel like it's executed well.
I kind of understand where you're coming at on it. This one I did like it, but I like the dreaming a lot better. Granted, when I was reading the Sandman Universe, this
was one of my favorite stories.
Really? See, I was the opposite.
This is the one that grabbed me the most. Alligator men and shit. That thing I thought was cool.
I just like I do like the concept of this of the main character in this.
Yeah.
Where she kind of like grabs you out of your dreaming,
and she's kind of like the goddess of love and desire.
And I do like that. And this stuff, this kind of stuff does intrigue me. But this was also not the one, like, I was not looking super forward to this title from the Sandman Universe. But other than that, I mean, I didn't have a bad time reading it. I do enjoy reading it. I like the little thing with the sisters, the 3 sisters, and the older sisters.
It's really well drawn, I think. I mean, I think it's beautifully drawn. It looks great.
I do like the alligator man in the top hat.
Yeah, but the thing is, I can't really get a bead on him. Like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? By looking at him, I don't trust him. Yeah, but
you shouldn't trust an alligator, especially if he wears a top hat.
Exactly.
He's just trying to fool you.
And then at the very end, they introduce Cain and Abel, which is everyone knows from the Bible, and I go, what in the world? This just came out of nowhere.
See, I feel like if we read more Sandman, like old Sandman, this stuff would make more sense. It
most likely would. And I have a feeling all 4 of these kind of spin-off titles are going to converge at some point.
And I feel like, they're all going to converge again. But I think that another thing, too, that we need to take from it is like what you're talking about, like where you don't see where the story's progressing until about halfway through. I think that one thing that we need to take in consideration is that they're trying to write this for people who probably never even read Sandman.
And that's kind of where I'm having trouble, because I'm not particularly engaged or I think even informed by this book. So for me, I'm going to go 2.25 Criminy Crackers.
I'm right there with you on that.
Okay, cool. Then we're going to move it on to Warren Ellis and Jason Howard's new book, Cemetery Beach. It's issue 1 of 7. And this book is... I'm a huge Iron Man fan, right? So when I see Warren Ellis's name, the guy who wrote Iron Man Extremis, I get excited on stuff. Mm-hmm. But I have not read anything since then that has really interested me. So I was like, okay, I'll give it one more look around. And I love the art in this book. Like we were talking about before, it's kind of a Magnolia kind of look to, as well as something that you would find in a Jeff Lemire book. But again, it's one of those things, just like 1975, where there's just not a lot of information. I don't know what's going on. The world that you're setting up, I don't understand it. And unlike 1975, where there isn't a lot of information given, this book just vomits at you in the very first couple of pages all this stuff that just does not stick. You know, the names, the whatever they call this stuff, it was in one ear and out the other for me. I didn't absorb the information, so reading on, I go, what the hell is going on? What are you talking about? But it's basically people don't live on Earth anymore, and this guy's trying to get back to Earth, and it's like this, I don't know, like a degenerative colony.
Yeah, so I actually, is it on? They're on another planet?
That's what they said.
See, I took it that it was time travel, because like he was talking about back in his time that he remembers, like, or about telling him about the cell phone and all
No,
that
I don't
stuff.
see. I think he was joking. I think what it was just that, these people have not been to the actual Earth so long they didn't realize how far it progressed with the technology.
Yeah, this is definitely a book that you have to kind of reread and hope that you pick something else up. I mean, the artwork in it's beautiful. I do love the artwork.
Yeah, art's great, but
Yeah.
it's not something that, again, I don't think I would care to read this series just based on this issue 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to reread it. I was trying to speed up read when I was reading with you, and I didn't really pick up on it. Granted, this kind of the themes that this book is going towards is something that really doesn't intrigue me.
Yeah.
Anyways,
As far as it's just not that interesting of a plot to me. So I'm gonna go ahead. So far, everything's been very middling. I'm going 2 Criminy Crackers.
I'm right there with you.
All right.
2 Criminy Crackers.
And we're moving on to Plastic Man #4 by Gail Simone and Mello. What is Mello's first name? I can never remember.
It's
but
Adrian.
Is it Adrian?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adriana. Adriana Mello. And what did you think about this one, Josh? I'll let you lead that one.
I've been digging this Plastic Man run. I really have. Gail Simone has really been surprising me a lot lately. I've never really cared enough to pick up on a Gail Simone storyline, but she's killed it with her Catwoman, Tweety, and Sylvester. She's killing it on this Plastic Man, and I mean, this is a good book. But the only thing that bugs me is this is a 6-issue miniseries, and it's issue number 4, and they mention all these little things in the first issue about how the JLA is killing people, and they have not got to it yet.
They got to it in this book.
They got it to it, yeah, a little bit, but like they haven't. I'm expecting by issue 4 that we get like an impact. Like, I mean,
Oh, we did. I don't know if you paid attention to the end, and we can go over it later. But no, they did, and it was an old bait and switch.
well, I get that, but I don't know. I guess I assumed that there would be something a little bit bigger. It just wasn't really.
This book is filler. It's just got a lot of stuff in it that doesn't really mean anything to the overall plot. You've got a couple stories going on. One with this agent woman, one with this young girl, this 11-year-old girl, which he calls him a him, tries to give him girl clothes. I don't really know.
Well, in the last issue, or not the last issue, I think it's issue 2 or something like that. He calls her she, and then she goes, "No, I'm a boy. Like, I go by he."
Okay, well, anyway, aside from gender politics, it's just there's all these things going on, and they're not converging on a central story. There's no central theme. The art in the book is really good at times, and other times it's extremely inconsistent. It's really odd to look at. Like if you open the very first page, the very first thing you see, or I should say the second page, is like highly detailed, looks great, and then you go to this weird cartoony look a couple pages in. But this book I was really liking those first 3 issues. This one has me pretty disappointed.
I'm not super disappointed by it. I do feel like that filler part is really just like, I don't know. I just feel like this for a miniseries, you should have this like tough out story that should last for the 6 issues. The 6 issues. And this issue feels like something that you would have going on in between a story arc. In between story arcs of a long ongoing. Like, there's nothing in this book that, to me, really, like...
It's not a concise story.
Yeah.
It's not well boxed in. There's no focus. There's no focus on a central story here, and that's what's bothering me. Every issue we complained about, they're not getting to the JLA stuff. They're not getting to the JLA stuff till halfway or more towards the end of the book. This one, they took even longer, and then we get an old bait and switch. It makes me go, what the hell? All of this was for what? And now you got 2 more issues to explain it, but this one would make me consider not dropping off of it, but not putting it high on my priority list every time it comes out anymore. Hopefully issue 5 can pull me back in, but right now this book, all it really had going for it was some great humor at times and some great artwork at times.
Yeah, I mean, I still enjoy the Plastic Man book, and this is not With this being said, I wouldn't say this is like my least favorite read of the day, but it is kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
And now I'm just kind of like, the way I view it is by issue 4, I'm viewing this as it's a 6-issue miniseries that doesn't really have a big, huge plot. It's more just a 6-issue miniseries of just writing jokes for Plastic Man.
Yeah, it feels a little pointless. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and give it 2.5 Criminy Crackers.
I actually go 2.5 as well.
All right.
Why are we on the same path? I don't like it when we are. I don't like it.
And your code phrase for 20% off any book not on your pull this week is Crisis on Infinite Lapse Special.
Ooh.
All right, moving on to The Wrong Earth by Payer and Eigel. It's let me see here, Tom Payer, Jamal Eigel, Juan Castro. Now this is a book that came out from Ahoy Comics, and I gotta say, I loved this.
I did too.
I really, really dug this book. So what it kind of is a play on Batman. It's a play on there's this character called Dragonfly or Dragonfly Man, and there's an Adam West version and like the post Dark Knight version of him, and they switch Earths, and I loved this book. I absolutely loved this book. I don't want to give too much away. We didn't even know we were getting it. It wasn't on our order form. They kind of slipped it in, but you can order it now on Diamond. If anybody's interested in this book, you can, have your local comic shop order it for you, maybe get it online, whatever. But I thought this book was great, and I thought that the inks and the pencils were so good to look at, and they do such a good job of balancing that tone of Adam West with the post-Dark Knight stuff and how different it is, yet it's supposed to be the same character. It's somewhat of a parody and satire, but also its own thing.
I don't know. I love this. This is how an issue 1 should be done.
Exactly.
It goes straight to it. We understand where it's going. We understand what the purpose of it. The only thing that has me kind of on this is I'm a little worried about, like, when you get this kind of book, it's like you're teetering, like it could drop off and be really bad real fast. It's like the writer has to keep his head in the game on it if he wants to make it keep being good. But no, this was actually my favorite read.
Mine too.
Of the whole week. I'm going to actually say
all week, really. Well,
yeah.
For this video, it was definitely my favorite for this episode.
I think this would have to be my favorite read of the week. I mean, there's other books that we read for the Marvel that are very close to it.
Yeah.
But I think I like this more just because it's a little different. I wasn't expecting it, and it's great. I love it.
It's like basically if you took the Dark Knight Joker and the Dark Knight version of Batman and put him in the Adam West TV show, what would happen?
And you also put the Adam West version of Batman
in like Christian
and you
Bale's.
Put him in.
Yeah.
No, I would you put him in some dark ass Batman.
Well, I'm saying
story.
in like a Christian Bale Dark Knight or the Batman Begins, that world, the way those switch up. And, when you first read it, like, okay, I get this is a bit of a parody. This should be a fun little romp. And then you get to the Dark Knight kind of version of this character, Dragonfly, and shit goes south real quick. It's a huge change in color tone. It's a huge change in the color palette in general. I love it. I thought this was so good.
Do you think that this is supposed to be like some kind of continuation off of the superhero movie? That parody with Drake Bell.
God,
it was supposed to be a scary movie, and he was the Dragonfly.
No, I hope not. But anyway, I don't want to give too much away. I would really urge people to pick this book up, check it out. I'm gonna give this one 4.25 Criminy Crackers.
God damn it, man! I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna give this 4.25. I was actually at one point I was thinking like, 4.5, but I'm gonna give it 4.25. I've been riding on that coattail all day.
All right, and then because I read one more than Josh, I'm going to go ahead with Hawkman #4 by Robert Venditti and Brian Hitch. And I love this. I'm loving this series. If you would have told me, 5 or 6 months ago that one of your favorite things out of DC would be a Hawkman series by Robert Venditti, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty sweet. But it's illustrated by Brian Hitch. I'm like, damn, I'm not sure I'm on board. This, in my opinion, is Brian Hitch's best work to date. I read his Ultimate stuff. I read him on The Punisher. I read a couple of his other things as well. But this is him at his top of his game. I'm loving Carter Hall going through the different iterations of Hawkman throughout all the different time periods and different worlds. And this book is just so much fun. It mixes, like I said before, it's mixing that Indiana Jones adventure and archaeology with time travel and trying to piece together this guy's life that he's missing so many pieces of. And this is one of my favorite things that's going on at DC right now. I'm giving this one 3.75 Criminy Crackers.
Nice. I read Catwoman #3, and it's so funny because DC is like putting out this stuff where like our favorite titles is something that we thought we'd never, like in a million years, be our favorite title. And like this Catwoman series, I love it so much. It's done by Joelle Jones. She does story and she also does some of the pencil work. And
Pencils are beautiful.
Oh, the pencils are beautiful. But I also like to pay a little tribute to the colorist, Laura Allred, because the color work and the inking and the pencils, I mean, everything about it is just perfect. And the storyline is great. It's intense. I mean, and then the covers are always beautiful, and they get art germ on them too. And I just absolutely love this series. And with that being said, this actually gets a 4.5.
Whoa.
Criminy
All
crackers.
right. And then my last one, guys, is going to be some political satire. Trump's Titans versus diversity. Keen Spot's been putting stuff out like this where it's basically taking Trump. He's a superhero, and he's also still the president of the United States, and he's been, getting these little one-off comic books. This time, he wants his own comic book, and he wants it done by, it's really not hidden who he wants it done by, Marvel Comics. And then it's making fun of both sides of the spectrum. It's not leaning hard left. It's not leaning hard right. It's staying in the middle. It's making fun of both sides of the right and the left. This thing was an absolute crack up. If you guys are into politics at all, you're going to see a lot of names and faces in here that you see in the news quite a bit, and it's really funny. You're even going to see some maybe, I don't want to say popular YouTube channel people, but
It's
controversial,
pretty popular.
controversial YouTubers in this book, and
YouTubers that review comic books.
yeah, and they get some good stabs at them as well. So this book was an absolute riot to read. I also read Trump's Titans versus Dark Trump Metal or something like that, or Mental. But either way, guys, if you're not a Trump fan and you hate the alt-right, you kind of hate the alt-left, and you want to sit there right in the middle, this book makes fun of both. A lot of fun to read. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3.5 Criminy Crackers.
Nice.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Josh?
No. Support your local comic book shop.
Absolutely. Well, there's something I did want to say. Yeah, okay.
And just be a decent person.
Before you click off, guys, we wanted to say that in the description below you can find the link to our Facebook page. If there are any books that you like that you thought you were interested in or sounded good, and you might be a little too lazy or just too busy to get to your local comic shop this week, go to our Facebook page, send us a message with the any of the secret code phrases, and we'll send you guys a book. Just pay for the book. We'll send it to you shipped for free.
Shipped for free.
Free shipping, and we will ship it right to your guys' door. But that is all we've got for you this week. Definitely check out the Marvel episode that we've got up as well. And we really appreciate you guys for listening. We will do our best not to miss another week the way we did. But hey, one in a few months, that's not too bad, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if you guys are upset about it, then fuck you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care.
Hey, wait a minute. Call 911. He has me trapped in the basement. Please, I need help.